Boxing Bros UK here. I am with Radio Raheem.
One of your boxing bros in the UK, yes. By the way.
It's our boxing cousin.
Incredible. I love the name, first of all. Let's go.
Thank you so much. So, we had the press conference today. I know because of your job, you might not be able to say, but who do you think is going to win?
Let me not be cheeky with you, but let me be serious. Sweet science is what we call boxing, right? Mm-hmm. Do you ever give any thought to what the science is in sweet science? It's elements. Science is dictated by the study of elements. And when they come together, we may make prognostications. We may have some sense of how these elements react in certain environments. But the beauty of boxing is every single time two elements come together, they are different. Yes, these men have fought before, but they were not the same elements as they were last time, as they shall be tomorrow, or Saturday, as it were. This is why I don't give predictions, and I used to. It's not because I'm trying to dodge. Of course, I think, this element could react this way if the environment is such, and this element reacts a different way from him, and vice versa. But the truth is, nobody knows. And anyone who tells you they know for sure what's going to happen when that first bell rings, they're liars. Or they don't understand that this boxing, this pugilism is a science. So let's talk about these elements, right? The element that we had the first time was a fighter on the come-up who was coming back from defeat, who was being doubted by the fans and maybe by himself, who had a new trainer who was just beginning to gel but hadn't had any experience with them together. And they came in to fight what we now know is a generational great in Alexander Usyk, who was on his way to becoming undisputed, hadn't attained that yet, but was a unified champion. And that young man went in there and put Usyk on the canvas. Now, there's controversy as to whether or not that's a legal blow or not, but it wasn't in the bits and bops. So whether it was on the belly button or a little below, it wasn't right in the breadbasket.
That's what I was going to ask you. I'll ask you now because I was going to do it towards it. Was it a low blow, yes or no? Just a straight answer.
The navel is where we dictate a low blow lands. The unfortunate element is that this belt line of his on his trunks hit the navel. So for me, if the belt line is hiding the navel and you land it on the belt line, it's a clean shot. If you want the belt line to be the definitive factor, then you have to have it below the navel because that is where the line is drawn. I don't think the referee was at a great advantage or vantage point to see where the shot landed. He was behind Dubois, and so he saw the shot come from beneath. It landed on the belt line, but I don't believe the referee actually could see it. He just kind of guessed based on the angle of the punch, and then I think the crowd also may have played a factor, and he gave Usyk the time, and that was a decision on the day. Had I been the referee and had a better vantage point than him, and with the advantage of replays and stop and starts, I say it's a very, very legal shot right on the line. And if you want to be able to define it for sure, then fighters, not just Usyk, Fury, and a ton of fighters I see with their belts up to their nipples, you got to put it below the navel. And that's actually on the referee to give that instruction before the fight even begins.
So, cards, Coley versus Lorena. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I mean, listen, I like a Coley coming into the heavyweight division. I think it's maybe his time to create a career that he's been chasing. He hasn't really defined himself yet. And if the heavyweight division is where he can do that, then Saturday night begins that journey for real. He's on a huge stage. He's got a massive opportunity to steal the show. And it's a tough show to steal, let me mind you. But, the undercard, if we're honest, really hasn't been talked about very much. There's anybody's chance to be the guy that we end up talking about on Sunday. And I think that's the opportunity that's in front of Lawrence Okolie, and it's his to grab.
Yeah. I suppose this card has got nothing to do with Turkey Al-Sheikh. And that's probably why the undercard isn't the best, because there's not enough money to get some decent fighters on.
If you look at the marquee, you see Riyadh season right in the middle of everything. So there is no card on the zone that has nothing to do with Turkey Al-Sheikh, especially if you see Riyadh season on the marquee. So, yes, of course it has to do with Riyadh season. It's the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And you're going to see, potentially, whatever the fallout of this is, might happen in Riyadh. Either one of these men face next could very easily be in Riyadh. So, yeah, there's nothing that's going to go on DAZN that has that Riyadh season moniker branding on it that has nothing to do with a Turkey. But every fight, every card, because we get so many stacked cards, we get so many great fight after great fight when we want to see them, every card can't be that. Sometimes the fighters themselves have to make the card stacked by their performance. Yeah. So like I said, maybe it's on Lawrence Okoli this time to make this a stacked card that we didn't know was stacked until we see the fights. The fighters got to make these moments definitive for themselves. So yeah, I think that anything is possible on the night, and we might be talking about anybody come Sunday. And that's the beauty of a fight card. Show up early and watch every fight, because you never know who the fighter of the night's going to be.
And I suppose his opponent, Lorena, ironically, put Dubois down, didn't he? He couldn't finish the job, and he had a good performance against Hooney, so he's no mug. Like, it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a tough fight for him.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Listen, everybody on this card, everybody has a shot to elevate their status and to get the biggest highlight of the night. Everybody on the card has that opportunity, and we got to come sit in the seats and find out who that's going to be.
Okay, one more question, because you're very intelligent. I like the way you think. There's something that's confusing me that I can't see how it's going to work. So Turkey Al-Sheikh has made this announcement about no more pay-per-view. All boxing is going to be free on DAZN. Like, I don't see how that's going to work, because there's still going to be people out there who can put pay-per-view card. Like, yeah, I just confused. I'm thinking, how's it going to work?
You got to get the quote right. He said no Riyadh season fight will be pay-per-view on DAZN.
Ring magazine.
Ring magazine fight will be pay-per-view on DAZN. So he is in
the small print. I didn't read the small print.
You understand? So yeah, that's very easy to do. And the reality is, DAZN launched that network promising that there would be no pay-per-view. He's actually holding to the promise that DAZN made to the fans when they initially launched. They were supposed to be the death of pay-per-view. So any pay-per-view you see on there is actually going back on their initial promise, and His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh is keeping the promise in spite of them being willing to go back on it.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn's famous words. DAZN, the Netflix of boxing. This is the future. And then we've got pay-per-view. Yeah, we've got about 50 million pay-per-views every flipping month.
Well, apparently that's over. And who makes bigger shows than Ring Magazine and Riyadh season? So whatever else is on there, I guess you're going to, if you're willing to pay for it, then have at it. But I don't think we're going to miss out on many big fights being pay-per-view, because if it's Ring and it's Riyadh season, they're making the biggest fights. No argument about that.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to do, we on Boxing Bros UK, we do 3 rounds. Yeah. So
you got to box 3 rounds now?
Yeah. No. So I'm going to ask you three questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Yeah. 3 of your best fighters that are active that you like to watch, not that are the best, that you personally, I like watching their fights.
Abdullah Mason. Be on the lookout for young Abdullah Mason. Brilliant talent. And you're going to get a lot of years out of this young talent as he ascends through the ranks. Excellent watch.
Is he fighting Sam Noakes?
Is he what?
He's fighting Sam Noakes, is he, soon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so these Brits are going to be, tuned in. This is going to be a great fight to dial in on. Daniel Dubois, to be honest. I really like watching Daniel fight. He is really the kind of fighter that I enjoy seeing. He's very offensive-minded. He's got a heavy punch. He's narrowly focused. The blinders are on. And watching him improve with every fight. I love Don Charles in the corner and the instruction being given. He's a great and enjoyable fighter to watch. Brilliant. And I can't wait to see what happens on Saturday night when he comes up against such a technician and experienced, undisputed champion in his own right, but on the soil of Daniel Dubois' home country, and all the moments that he thought of as a child will come to bear in just 48 hours, and we'll see if he can meet that mark. So yeah, I enjoy watching Daniel Dubois quite a bit. And in the third slot, I would... that's a tough one when you come to the last one, but I think you cannot not say Terrence Crawford. I was looking for somebody else. I really racked my mind. You saw me listening and listened to myself like, is there? Now these are not in order, mind you. These are just 3. But I was trying to come up with a wild card. I think Abdullah is probably one that most people haven't heard of yet. So there's my wild card pick. But Terrence Crawford, man. I mean, the science, the execution, the grit, the fucking real desire to be great, to go up 2 weight classes against a great unto himself and take that challenge on, and people are still can't figure out who to pick. That just lets you know how excellent a fighter he is. He's exciting. He is going for the knockout. If he gets you hurt, he's going to capitalize on it. Like, what else do you want if you love boxing? Terrence Crawford. It's got to be on that list.
So, last question, because I have a theory that I believe that Terrence Crawford wants to fight Canelo and beat him to prove that he's better than Mayweather, because he's beating Canelo in his prime kind of thing, and he's going up 2 weight classes to beat him. So if Terrence Crawford, so what I'm asking you is, if Terrence Crawford beats Canelo,
the answer's no.
Is he better? Is he better than Mayweather if he retires?
The answer is no. Of course not. It's not. That's not how. This is why I keep trying to tell you it's a science, right? First of all, these are 2 different eras now. So you're dealing with 2 different environments, 2 different collections of contemporaries. So all this is fantasy nonsense at this point. True. You're talking about fan fiction, right? So I don't talk about that in the same regards, which is why I'm glad you asked me 3 active fighters, because now we're talking about all guys who are competing in the same environment. These 2 elements, Crawford and Mayweather, couldn't be more different, really. I think Mayweather is probably the best defensive fighter we've seen since Pernell Whitaker. However, maybe he has eclipsed Pernell Whitaker because of his offensive abilities and the fact that he was remaining undefeated. I think Pernell got jobbed a few times. He should have won some fights that that went the other way. But that is Mayweather's real claim to fame for me, is his ability to be a defensive fighter and remain undefeated in that regard, and still be able to mount enough offense to get some solid knockouts and, to call himself TBE. We don't know what the rest holds for Terrence Crawford. I don't think Canelo will be the end of his career, but also his approach to the sport is just very, very different. His trajectory to this moment is very, very different. Canelo's an entirely different fighter than when he fought Floyd Mayweather, and they will define themselves in their own respective eras.
Well, I suppose what I was thinking is, if Terrence Crawford did beat him, let's say, if he retires, he's undefeated, say he retires after beating Canelo, 3-time undisputed. And Mayweather never got undisputed ever.
Yeah,
like, you've got for me, I think he's got to get some flowers for that if he does it.
Of course, come on, he's got to get bouquets. But the beginning of the sentence is correct. For me, that's for you.
For me,
you're the scientist. You can decide what these elements mean, and you can determine the value of one over the other in your scientific table. Right? Okay. So that's fair. What you're saying isn't crazy. I wouldn't be like, man, you should probably get out of the science. You sound like a lunatic. No, there's a legitimate approach to it, but it's opinion, as it all is.
That's
right?
It.
And so I think the closer that you can match up people in the same environment and the same time, maybe the same weight class, then you can get a more apples to apples comparison. But the fewer things that they have in common in regards to when they're competing, whom they're competing against, and at what level, be it weight or even skill, they're competing, changes the way you can compare them, unless they indeed were able to fight each other. But by definition, that's not possible. So all you can do is give your prognostications and your pontifications, but they're just for you.
So last one, your 3 favorite retired fighters, like the legends of old, like you love to watch. Not that are the best or whatever. So they don't even have to be a legend.
Marvin Hagler, Muhammad Ali.
Of course.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh. No, I thought you would have had a Tyson in there. No?
Yeah, my favorite to watch. I mean, listen, for me, those are the 3.
Yeah, okay. It was brilliant speaking to you today, Radio Raheem.